tym razem nagranie, bo będzie gość zagraniczny, Sprinkel Grace, która bardzo entuzjastycznie zareagowała na nasze zaproszenie na wystąpienie w tej konferencji, ale niestety w tym momencie jest na innym kontynencie i ze względów różnych logistycznych nie była się już w stanie połączyć z nami w czasie rzeczywistym, więc nagrała wideo, które w tym momencie odtworzymy.
Thank you so much for this opportunity to be with you on this important day. In my visits to Warsaw and Krakow, I have always felt welcome, and I am feeling welcome even from a great distance because I'm in San Francisco recording this, and there you are in Warsaw, and I hope your day has been going really well. I'm going to close this conference for you with a very, I hope, upbeat, encouraging, because these are tough times. Your conference title, Health Matters, gave me so many things to think about. But you know what? At the end of it all, I thought, health matters, yes, but you matter more. Without your work, healthcare in your communities cannot thrive. The challenges that you face daily and meet, whether patient-centered or administrative or fundraising focus, ultimately relieve pain and worry and give those who are suffering or anxious a sense of confidence and peace. And yet, in spite of acknowledging the impact we have on lives and needs, we are all challenged these days to find strategies and purpose that will help us be more resilient than ever. I don't know about you, but as I reflect on my 40 years in nonprofit fundraising and administration, I do not believe there has ever been a time when my resilience has been so challenged. But I have learned how to retrieve my resilience, the ability to restore my energy and purpose, and that is how I keep going, and it is how you can too. My resilience is restored when I keep my values in focus. My resilience allows me to navigate times and issues that are painful, discouraging, and frustrating. My resilience and yours comes from a values-based belief that there is always a solution once we have defined the problem, that the why of our existence is the most treasured part of ourselves, and that there is life outside our work, be it music, books, another art form, sports, church, or family. Believing in the importance of resilience is as important as being resilient. I have learned that when I start spiraling down with fatigue, worry, and anxiety, I take everyone with me. And in our world, where so many depend on us, we simply cannot succumb. A colleague of mine, Dr. Linda Clever, is a respected physician in San Francisco and the author of The Fatigue Prescription, a program of seminars and workshops especially created for professionals working in healthcare. What has heightened our work together over the years is the shared belief that living our values is the best remedy for fatigue. Awareness of our values leads to reflection about issues, beliefs, feelings, and choices, and an increased ability to continue working and believing even when we feel like we cannot go one step further. In her book, Dr. Clever reminds us that values are what matter most to us, a convergence of the idea of someone's true north, that stable compass point, and knowing what to put first in your life, priority setting. Values are, she says, your foundation and support, the inner guides that direct your behavior, but only when you're in touch with them. Sounds simple, but we all know that staying in touch with our values is an increasingly challenging endeavor. These are difficult times in our weary world. Shifts in governments and attitudes and the harshness of wars, chaos, and day-to-day human existence have given each of us many dark moments as we anticipate the future. And we can't put the pandemic behind us. And yet, we really have no choice but to carry on, making sure whatever your job is in your healthcare system, that the result of your efforts provides hope, care, love, and support for those whose health is an additional worry in a world that is already filled with anxiety and fear. Whether through raising precious funds or managing resources or offering vital counsel, support, medication, or intervention, you need to find the will and the energy to give deeply of yourselves and make an impact in the lives of others. It's what our sector is all about. Gauging impact is hard. Some results are not immediately evident in all the work we do, but we can hear the stories. We can watch people bloom when praise and support are offered. We can see when addiction is conquered, mental health issues are brought under control, and those who work with our services for other reasons are changed by their experience. Most of this cannot be measured, and thinking everything can and must be measured is a trap into which we cannot fall. Our impact is most often told in stories we tell to others or others tell us. Be a storyteller. Find your narrative. Stories are one of the keys to resilience, and they will lift your spirits in the hearing and the telling and the retelling. Through your fundraising and administration, you make it possible for the stories to happen. I consult with healthcare organizations, but of course, I also must access healthcare for myself from time to time, and my experience has always been more beneficial when a compassionate caregiver is there for me. Someone with sincerity, kindness, understanding, a calming voice and manner, and an assurance that whatever lies ahead, we will work together to ensure the best possible outcome. It is easy to detect superior health care when the people and the facility, large or small, state-of-the-art or humble, are well managed and people-centered care is prevalent. Since the death of Pope Francis, many of his thoughtful comments have been posted on social media. Two of them speak not only to what you do, but to what you offer those you serve directly, through fundraising or by administering programs skillfully. He said, "Joy is the salt of the earth and the light of the world. It is the yeast that leavens society as a whole." And there is no better way of explaining happiness than to make someone happy. So how do we sustain our own joy and happiness and make others happy when we are daily exposed to illness, aging, death, injuries, tangled bureaucracies, and inadequate resources to provide what is needed for our human family? By now, you know what I do. I reignite my resilience. I find my spark. At the end of every email I send, there is a quotation from Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel that reminds me many times each day to keep my spirits up when life and others and world events are trying to push my spirits down. Our goal, he said, should be to live life in radical amazement, to get up in the morning and look at the world in a way that takes nothing for granted. Everything is phenomenal. Everything is incredible. Never treat life casually. To be spiritual is to be amazed. I love the idea of radical amazement. And I'm also inspired by a single line from an American poet, E.E. Cummings. "I'd rather learn from one bird how to sing than teach 10,000 stars how not to dance." For me, resilience comes from knowing my values and living them. What are my values? Joy. Finding it, experiencing it, spreading it. Respect. Receiving it, honoring it, and giving it. Gratitude. Showing it in all my work and relationships, and simply living gratefully. What are yours? Write down 3 of yours. I won't be able to see them. Probably nobody else can either. But perhaps you can share them with another person tomorrow. To me, resilience begins with renewal, bringing together stability and change, maintaining ourselves and our values, but with a willingness to surrender the memories and try something new. Resilience adds another dimension to renewal, a big dose of purpose. While we often associate renewing in our field with renewing a contribution rather than renewing ourselves, synonyms for our personal renewal give us a new meaning: flexibility, elasticity, suppleness. Again, I turn to E. Cummings to remind us about what is possible. May my mind stroll about hungry and thirsty and supple, and even if it's Sunday, may I be wrong, for when we are right, we are not young. What a grand idea, to stay young, renewed, and resilient as long as we can. Another key aspect of resilience is that our impact as professionals hinges on our fearless expression of genuine emotion. The capacity to recognize and allow emotion is critical, certainly in working with patients and families, but particularly if you are responsible for fundraising. A young Romanian man I mentored from our Central and Eastern European Leadership Program has been in the US for 2 years now, getting his master's in nonprofit management. He's getting ready to leave. He's getting ready to go home. And I called him just to see how he was doing. And he said, it's been a great program, but he said, there's no emotion. He said, it's all pragmatic. It's all practical. And he said that it was for him very confusing because he's founded a nonprofit. He knows the emotion that goes into something like this. Are you being too pragmatic? Are you forgetting your emotions? To share your emotions with those who are on your journey is essential. If you are to master resilience, you must allow yourself to feel. How you show those feelings depends on the circumstances. But in our work, emotion is the foundation of all action. Most organizations in our sector come from a place of emotional commitment to solve a societal problem, whether it is health, education, social service, or any of the other areas of our concern. We express emotion in caregiving, in managing for results, when we send messages to raise money that touch people's hearts. That emotion is what generates passion, which is the most dramatic motivator for all of us and for our constituents. I find that struggling organizations often have a low PQ, passion quotient. They have not sufficiently engaged their hearts, and they struggle to measure that which often cannot be measured. The simple formula for effective fundraising outreach: touch my heart, tell me what the problem is, tell me what you're doing about it, and tell me how I can help. How often we forget that first step: touch my heart. Tell your stories. Do not lead from the need you have for money, scarcity. Lead from the need you are meeting, abundance. Please remember that people give because they can see your impact. Remember also that relationships are the heart of our work. Everything we do, from direct healthcare services to administration to fundraising, is about relationships based in shared values that grow and flourish. When we get too busy to take care of our relationships, we don't have time to spend time with others. We say we are more apt to be continually exhausted and veering into a hollow state of emotional bankruptcy. So, what are some solutions if you're struggling with your relationships? What can you do if you have little time but want to connect with others so you can feel like yourself again? Try Zoom Tales. Meeting on Zoom at the end of a day with a glass of wine and friends who may be very busy or live far away to have a chat. I started doing Zoom Tales during the pandemic with friends who live 2 hours away. The pandemic's long gone, but we don't let Wednesday at 5 go by. Schedule lunches with friends you have lost touch with because you are all too busy. I find that once I put the date on the calendar, I end up keeping the date and having lunch. Share a morning coffee break with someone new on staff or someone you met recently. Make a no real purpose social phone call to a friend or call a relative you have neglected because you are too busy. Take a walk in a park or the woods with a friend. We all know that getting out into nature is one of the most restorative practices. We need to make time for it. I have found that the time spent doing these things builds up my resilience and gives me energy that I felt was gone. And for me, my writing also restores my resilience, even when I stare at the page and I only come up with 5 words I like. It sets my resilience in motion, and the next time there are more words. The capacity to recover, to bounce back, is what we want from our patients and colleagues, and we need to model it. As the Greek physician and anatomist Herophilus advised, when health is absent, wisdom cannot reveal itself, art cannot manifest, strength cannot fight, wealth becomes useless, and intelligence cannot be applied. Here are 10 ways to maintain or restore resilience. These are things I've worked on during my 40 years working in the civil sector in governance, giving, and administration. Through recessions, downturns, the technology bomb of 2000, 9/11, and the current situation we in America and the world are going through. Number 1, don't stay in a job that is not aligned with your values. It is tempting to try to be a hero, but you cannot live long in a contradiction. You cannot live wholly in dissonance. And if you are not happy, it will limit your capacity to embrace your true values. We have all had what I call a job from hell. And if it is evident you cannot fix it, leave it behind. You will be happier somewhere else. And the Dalai Lama advises that happiness is the highest form of health. 2, seek professional development and advice, even if your organization has no budget for it. Fund it yourself or find someone who will volunteer to help you. Take an online class, find a mentor, hear new ideas, mix with other professionals, listen to those whose words may inspire and provide new ideas that ignite your spirit and values. 3, become a trend spotter. Read voraciously about the world, your community, and your profession, and weave those ideas together into a new thought bundle, one that can inspire you in your work. People often marvel how I stay current with trends. It comes down to a discipline of reading that gives me a solid framework for determining where we are headed, even if it's not a pretty picture. 4, speak up, speak out, but remember to do it in a way that is helpful. Anger is the enemy of resilience because it often leads to a breach in relationships and a challenge to your values. If things are very bad, give adequate notice and leave. See number 1 above. 5, take personal time to do the things that lift your spirits. No matter how busy you are, even if it's only 10 minutes, read a chapter in a book, read a whole book, write a book, listen to music, go for a walk, climb a mountain, stand in the rain. If you fail to restore your own resources, you will have none to share with others. 6, if you feel yourself thinking you are a victim, run, don't walk, to the nearest exit. Again, know when the party is over and leave. 7, dig deep into your beliefs, spiritual, religious, academic, and pull out the nuggets of new ideas lying there that are waiting to inspire you. I often turn to poetry. A wisp of eloquent language lifts my spirit. 8, remember that we may be role models for others. particularly as we grow into our jobs. Be careful what you model. Do problems overwhelm you, or do you see them as puzzles to be solved, as ways to move forward, and as a vehicle for engaging others to increase their ownership of the problem once it's solved? 9, embrace joy. Find it wherever you can. I feel joy when I look out my office window and see a squirrel leaping from the tree to the top of the fence. I feel joy when I see bluebells suddenly blooming in my garden after the long winter. There is joy in listening to Bach, Beethoven, or jazz. There is joy in seeing people grow, children, employees, friends. There is joy everywhere we look. And so what we have to do is make sure we find joy, even when we feel we cannot. And 10, become a life eater. Yeah, I said that, a life eater. Each minute of our lives is irretrievable. Snap, it's gone. As these minutes fly, think of them as a gift, because they are. Embrace them, savor them. Yes, health matters, and what you do matters, but most of all, you matter. To your workplace, family, friends, other loved ones, and you matter to you. Love yourself and find ways to restore that self when you feel overwhelmed, overworked, and unable to see the future clearly. Oprah Winfrey tells us, breathe, let go, and remind yourself that this very moment is the only one you know you have for sure. We cannot know the future of our community, country, or world, but we can shape our own. We can get better about how we navigate in our world, how we react to crises, and how we embrace joy. Jon Kabat-Zinn wisely advised, you cannot stop the waves, but you can learn to surf. Many of you lead others. Your impact will continue for generations if you are able to inspire resilience in others, even as you show yours in your leadership, care, outreach, and interaction. Yes, health matters. And those who look to you for strength and guidance and assurance that they will be fine experience more than healing. You may also help them experience the joy of self-discovery. I will leave you with this small fragment of another E.E. Cummings poem. I thank you, God, for most this amazing day, for the leaping greenly spirits of trees and a blue true dream of a sky, and for everything which is natural, which is infinite, which is yes. I who have died am alive again today, and this is the sun's birthday. So in closing, may the sun shine on you and those you care for and those who care for you. And may you find the resilience you need to continue your very important work. Thank you.